Good evening to everyone. I am Academic Counselor H. Biswas from IGNOU. So today again the International Human Resource Management. Today is the review class. So I have to review all the blocks and important units. And I have to discuss the different type of questions also, and for the exam purposes and other process. So now again we need to see the overview of the units, basically the introduction to international HRM, then social and the cultural context of the HRM, cross-cultural diversity, then your strategic HR management in international context, and block 2, that is your HRM practices of international context. And this block we have to see the staffing of the international assignments, training and development, then your international performance management, compensation packages, and international career management. So all these part are your block 2. Block 3, as we already discussed the previous sessions. So here the leadership and the motivation of the global context, that part all to see. Then performance working systems, high performance systems, and the last block, that is your what are the issues and challenges and globally that we have to see, international employees relations, and your what are the trends and challenges. Now let's see the first things we have to try to clear the definitions. What are the definition of the things, and some of the terminologies are there. The terminologies are basically your you should know what is the multinational corporations, MMC. Normally in short we are saying the MMC, that is your multinational companies. Then your traditional corporations, TNC, and your home country or parent country, normally PN in short we actually have written host country. So all this terminology we should know. Then it will be very easy to understand the international management purposes. Okay. Now in the first unit, normally we have seen what are the objectives of the HRM, that is on basically the acquired and the upper hand of the competitive advantage throughout the market you have to see, and for that you have to recruit and expand your business so that the employees can be ability to effectively work and with the efficiency. So that should be the objectives of international management, and that's definitely there should be some goal also. So customer satisfaction is one of the main aim should be there, and the market leader positions, your company positioning of the company, that is also utmost required. If any disputes in international levels, that resolutions, and even in the domestic area also, that resolution is also very important, especially for the foreign employees and the cross-culture management cooperations. So this is basically the part of your understanding what is the international management. Then some activities it is carried out cross-border, because basically the international where the HRM part, basically you have to cross-border, you have to establish some of the business or some of the headquarters, some of the subsidiaries to be launched in the, you have to start a new offices in the foreign countries. So definitely what type of cultures and their locations are very important part. So that you have to service some of the integrated connection part of the headquarters and the subsidiaries in the other countries. That relationships have to build up. Some linkages, basically here actually we are talking about the international insurance in terms of the concern of your these things. Some linkages and synthesize everything. You have to synergize the things, whatever between the organizations, HRMs, activities, and the foreign environments. So that thing has to be synergize the things. It means both the energies have to be clubbed. The domestic and international companies are working in a synergist way. There are 6 fundamental aspects that distinguish the international management, HRM, and domestic HRM. In short, we can say DHRM, and the case of international IHRM. So that differences and there where the basic distinguishes you have to understand. Scope of the activities. It is widened for the point of the your country nationals and your from the home country nationals, the host country and your home countries and your tertiary, I mean the third party country nationals. So this all these things should be relate to each others. They have an additional remuneration functions and needs to be attended. Here actually the talking about the compensation packages, because when you are seeing the foreign employees, I mean deputation or you have to transfer, you have to deploy the employees, so definitely their allowances packages will be different. That part has to be taken care. Here are some of the basic diagram, what the way it is connected, the interrelated with the things. The international human resource management, it is encompasses with the varieties of these wider relationships, then your nationalities, then your border relationships and the compensations complexes. Then your influence in the international environment, that is also part of your international managements. Then enduring the complexities of the HRM activities, then a variety of the functions and different approaches of the functions. So, basically your component, you can say the component of the international management, or we can say these are all the things are encompasses, I mean surrounding these things are. So, this is all of the area are to be looked after. Now, some given the some of the differences chart is there. There is a domestic HRM and is the international HRM. So, there some distinguishing part is there basically. So, I can read out some of the one of the things that deals with the employees from the country and a single entry, single trace. But in the case of your international HRM, where the agreements with the employees for the different countries and the multinationals. So, this is one of the differences. Another thing is your domestic HRM only deals with the single entries, single countries, international internal environments. But in case of your international things, we have to consider the environment of the multiple countries. Should know the other countries and surrounding other countries also, besides of the other countries also, their culture, what type of trade relationships are there or not, bilateral relations is also have to see, government to government relations. So, that is the environment you have to consider it. So, this is basically part of your international and domestic differences. Then as per the Douglas Wind of the parameters, he advocate the things, the theories. There is the four type of approaches. There is one of the your ethnocentric approaches and your polycentric approaches and your region wise regiocentric approaches and then geocentric approaches. Geocentric means globally you have to see where the countries are there, where your business type. So, that approach will be different. That is one of the suppose you are starting one of the business in your own countries and your approach is should that company should be globally reputed. I mean your ambition is like this. So, definitely that approach will be inbuilt in the starting itself. In the domestic, then international business, export, import, whatever the way. So, approach will be different. If you are only the within the region only, then definitely it will be regional aspect you have to consider it. So, different model or approaches are there. So, here are some of the diagrams, organizational structure of the ethnocentric structures, so that it can be very clearly there is a managing director is there, there are some manager, in the functional areas some different managers are there, and one functional area, then again there are some sub functions areas are there. So, this is that type of things are basically your ethnocentric organizations. Let us see the other one. Then you have structured the polycentric organizations. Here actually all the functional areas again defined and different your areas covered. I mean their finance, then productions, the resources, management and marketing management, and definitely one managing director. Under the managing directors, then CEO foreign subsidy will be there. They will be reporting to managing director. So this type of things, your polycentric organizations structures. Now let's see another one, that is a regional, regiocentric things. Here actually there's some country manager, one of the countries, suppose Dubai, Middle East and Asia countries and your Europe countries. So different country managers are there, and they are directly reporting to headquarters in the where the managing director is there, and every functional area is also inbuilt. So this type of structures are basically your regional, regiocentric organizations. And last, this is your geocentric organizations. Again, there are region wise and even in the country wise also again. So country 1, country 2, every region 1, region 2, region 3 is there, globally different countries, and again there are some further downloaded, the country 1, country 2, country 3. And finally again the final functional sections are there, operations, finance, marketing and human resources. So this is another some typical diagrams. So 4 the diagrams are important when you are writing the approaches, different approaches. Definitely you have to draw this. This structure is also along with this structure you have to write the definition of these things. Now activities under the IHRM. What are the activities are there? First thing is the planning is important, as I said earlier also, that planning is a very important part. International recruitment and the selection policies, that has to be decided before you have to formulate before these things, because the recruitment scrutiny is very important as far as the international concerns, because you have to right persons as required, qualified and experienced, and they should have some soft skill and hard skill, both the skill they have to required for these things. So that's why this is the area which is important. Training and development is another area that is also important area activities, because you have to train this before deploy the employees in the abroad. Some prerequisite conditions, some trainings, awareness are required. Then your expert remunerations, those are expertise, they put it in the deployed in the other countries, definitely their composition or remuneration will be different. You have to consider a lot of other things also, their family safety, their children's educations, and there are some challenging extra allowances are required because of disturbance of these things, because you have to away from the family. So that type of allowance are to be there so that he can feel satisfied the things. Then performance appraisal will be considered in different way, because their culture, different situations are there. If the domestic environment is different way, very comfortable way you can work. If you face any problems, you can immediately interact with the supervisors or the seniors. But in the foreign country, you cannot talk to phone, over the phone or email. So face-to-face connections are made there. So definitely the time of evaluating the performance definitely have to consider, because he is posting the outsides. So that conditions are very important. So performance appraisal system will be, the policy should be there, and it will be little bit different way you have to mention it. And repartitions means when they are coming back after the fulfill their assignment 2 years or 3 years, what are the assignments, then where they will go. So I have to put them in such a way that they would feel, yes, my experience are now accountable, and they can also feel free to train something, and so suitable postings are required after the coming back then. So that type of mindset are these all are part of your activities of the international HRM business. This will be different from the domestic HRM business. Now, multinational companies face the many problems. As we know, a lot of problems are there, cultural problems are there. There is a coverage and determinations. What type of determinants that we have to see. Cultural and other factors, because the knowledge, beliefs, systems, and there are so many levels are there. So belief system will be different, and attitudes also one of the aspect, one of the you can say that one of the your determinants, and then your behavior, because and multinational companies, they are diversity, they are different type of people are coming from the different angles, the behavioral levels will be different. So that all are the challenges they are facing, problems like this. The culture has a significant impact because the culture where he has, upbringing, what type of education, what is his surrounding was there in the from childhood itself, and that culture is built up, and ultimately it will affect in the work also, and it should not be see the in the company environment culture to be matched, to be aligned with these things. So this is one of the, so that's why some of the policies should be there. So impact of the cultures on the HRM policies and practices are important. Impact of the your training, because the type of training is also important, because that thing really the skill is built up or not, and what type of modules you are selecting for the training programs, that is also important, because that should be then they can be able to work the and there itself, and perfectly they can do it. Impact on the compensation of the reward packages, this is also important, because if you are not giving a good salaries or allowances of the foreign allowances, contingency allowances or whatever it is, then definitely they will feel when they are not adjust the new situations, new economic situations, they are, so all this will affect in the things. So compensation package, selection of the compensation package, you have to take care that they should not be impact in their work, because they can very freely work there without any hesitations. They can spend the money based on their market in the foreign market levels. So they don't hesitate to expend the money, or when it is needs, because the based on needs. So compensation package is very important. So that is one of the impact part. Then your another impact is performance evaluations, because if you are not evaluated correctly, because it is not biased something, and so perfect evaluations are required. They should feel, yes, my contributions, my hard work, and my work has been justified. So that type of feelings sometimes are there. So that part also it will impact in the foreign countries. If I go there, I'll detach from my bosses and other subordinates. I don't know my activities will be really countable or not, and I'm not daily interacting with the things, the body language I have not seen. So that type of things are coming in the mind sometimes. So psychologically they will feel I am isolated from the company, even though he is doing some hard work. So that is also impact in the mind. Impact of the HR priorities, because the priority will be different, because here actually in the domestic there are different type of priorities are there. But there, when he is posted in the outside, the foreign, when he has deputed, their priorities will be different. So because their priority is the work, and you have to complete in the project in times, otherwise the reputation of the company will be delayed, it will be declined, because if you are not perform there, you are not doing the good job quality wise, not satisfy the foreign nationals, your product is not marketable, then definitely it will affect in the overall company performance, and the name and fame of the branding is also will be problem. So that's why the work and the quality work, standard of the work are very important. That should be top priority. So accordingly, HR has to decide which are the area are impacting the our employees. So that is the area to be defined. Basically, they defined in this way. Now, social and the cultural factors, it is a very across the different countries and the part of the global, as we've seen, the cultural is different. So culture is a group level phenomena, and culture is generally comes from the climatic and the economic conditions of the your geographical areas, and a set of traditional beliefs and the values shared by a particular society, because every society have a different belief systems. So we have to adjust it, and that things are coming from by the knowledge itself. As you are aware and your knowledge is built up, then your adaptability capacity will be increased. Will be automatically enhanced once you know their cultures, understand their cultures, and then it very easily you can adopt theirs. So pattern of the life and your thought passed down the generation to the generations, because what are the thoughts are theirs, it is generation to generation, you cannot change it. The value systems, the automatically come, the customs, the norms, and the arts, values, etc. These all are basically traditionally it is coming, the value systems. Now some of the types of the behavior of the society considered appropriate, then based on the social interactions, and they are acquired through the learning, what the way can achieve all these things. So subject to the people, subjective as the people across the different cultures and have the different ideas about the same phenomena. Dynamic in nature, as the old ideas are rejected and new ideas are adopted. Then your defining the culture, again there is a Harris actually 2007, he defined that the culture as the way of behaving and behaving that a group of people has developed over time and share. And 1961 Kulkon, he described another way the culture is symbols. It is representing the unique achievements of the human groups, including their embodiments in artifact. The essential core of its culture is its traditional ideas, and above all its values and the composed of. So different way this defining, and basically what are the advantage of these things and disadvantage. Advantage is this is a better workforce diversity management. If you have a different culture of people are there and different mindset, different ideas are there, then definitely it will be better management. You can manage it, and mix up and adaptability will be fast. And disadvantage is sometimes the formation of the groups and the cultural stereotype assumptions. That is some of the disadvantage part is there. Effective margin and acquisitions. Advantage is very good because now the global situation like this, most of the companies, they are joint ventures are there, merging the one company by other companies, and some of the your acquisitions also there. They have to acquire some of the companies. So that type of agreement are going on, and that time the cultural aspect is very important, because there are different type of people, different cultures. Now they are joining in the one company now. Some of the company, their culture is different. Other companies are now when they are clubbed in doing the same type of work in a mutually. So that things are sometimes reflected, and it will take time to absorb the things. Some of the cultures are good for this A company, some of the cultures is good for the B company. Big A company is not allowing their B companies some of the points. So sometimes the negotiation conflict will be there. Then slowly it will be merged based on their experience, based on the knowledge and good leaderships based on this. So that is one of the advantages there. You can get a other idea also. Sometimes we are denying the other viewpoints, but if you go in deep, then you can realize yes, that idea is also good, and they can be progress further. So that type of understanding is required. Effective management of the human resource at the home and abroad. So effective management it is one of the advantage if we go for these things. So this cultural study manifold, many way you can advantages there. Maybe there are a few disadvantages obviously there. So now cultural diversity is a workforce, can result from the individual practices, values, customs, and conviction of the and the regarding there. So that part already I already elaborated a little bit. Now sensitivity, cultural sensitivity is one of the aspect. It implies being able to learn from the different people. That how much you are sensible for this thing, your responsives, your responsiveness, really you are hearing or not. You try to learning their cultures or not, or you should not be ignoring the things. If you really want the good results, definitely you have to listen, you have to try to understand their cultures and pick up the good things. So that is basically your sensitivity with the things there. Cultural sensitivity is essential. It is the sensitize the individuals with the concept of cultural identity, cultural appreciations, and the cultural differences. Now, another theories are there. There is some of the significant proportional cultural perspectives are there as per the organizational behavior and your pattern decision management 2001. They are saying the Hempend and the Tom Penners, they are saying, and Tanners of 1997, they have definitely observed, they have to observe a lot of things, the social and the cultural context in the international HRMs. So deeply you energized the values of the group of the individuals, then you systematically varying the societies, then you conditioning the practices and the policies. These all are the way they have to see. Then as per the Edward and the Rees 2006, he is saying the national culture and the your host country and the parent country's farm can influence by the attitudes in the international negotiations and their outcomes, merger and acquisitions. This is all are the way out to solve the situations. Now, cultural perspectives of the management theory is the outcome of the investment trade and the ownerships within the organizations. Then your appropriate compensation, benefits and rewards. Then your centralization of the hierarchies within the organizational structures, merger, subordinates and relationship dynamics. Then your concept of the performance management. There is a talent management is one of the aspect, and talent development. You have to develop the talent peoples and recruit and the persons organizations really fit for your jobs. Then attitude that towards the job and the career mobility, and then your two models are there, and the cross cultural impacts, that is your people affecting the international HRM policies. One is the onion models and the cultural dimensions. Now, it is the onion, as we know that there are so many layers are there in the onions. So first thing is the symbolic, then your symbols, then your heroes, then you see towards what are the results are there. Finally, the values in the core areas. So that is the and that core area over there, that should be practices under the practices. This is one of the models. Now, different layers are signifying the things. The surface of the explicit culture outside. Then in the after that your hidden cultures. Then your invisibles of the implicit in the core area, the core cultures. So the description are like this way. Your last there's the culture's universal truth is the core areas that has to be adopted. Another cultural dimension and their management implications. There are one of the 6 dimensions are there. So all the dimensions of power distance, then your indulgence things, and long term and short term, and then your masculinity and the femininity, and your tolerance of the uncertainty and individualisms. So these all are the your different dimensions of the cultural dimensions. Then 6th dimension, as I say, now they have to see the comparisons, means basically the individualisms and the collectivism. Question may come anything like this. Then uncertainty avoidance index, then your long term versus the short term orientations, then your indulgence and versus the restraints. So this is the way this what are the dimensions are there. Then again you have to comparisons of the dimensions are also to be read out and prepare for that. Then here some of the cultural dimensions of the globe models. The globe models are there. Its shaping is like a globe, and their area, the performance orientation area, and then your human orientation area. So this both the areas are described here actually. Then your uncertainty avoidance in the globe models, they are saying you have to be expert on these things area. Uncertainty avoidance. Then the power distance, institutional collectivisms, in the group collectivisms, and the gender alterations and the assertiveness. Then your convergence, cultural convergence and cultural disadvantages, and both the things are required sometimes. The globalizations and the cultural convergence, the localizations and the cultural divergence, and globalizations and the cultural cross virginations. So I think I mean quickly try to cover up all the things. I am touching the most of the important parts, and which I think you can go back to my earlier sessions where elaborately we have discussed blockwise. Here actually I am just touch upon the important part. The most of the multinational companies are home and the most economically advanced nations, but operate in many different countries. Economics benefit, there is a foreign direct investments, one of the things, FDI as we know. Then you tried some of the multinationals at the greater power to decide whether to share their country's strategies, policies and the practices with the host country firms, as we've seen what I think the American president are doing. So that is the power, basically the how much share you can give it, how much tariff you can give it. So that is the one of the logic there. So academicians and the practitioners have considered multinational companies models and sources of the managerial innovations. Here actually I am to try to emphasize on things. So before launching any product or any competitions, in the global competitions, so you have to see the total environment of the things, what is going on, which country tariff to what much tariff is there. Suppose you are ready to, you are willing to export some of the things, definitely you have to see your product cost should not be high. Their citizens should buy it in a very reasonable price. Otherwise, if it is tariff is more particular, this country has already introduced lot of tariffs, definitely your product will be selling the market at a very high cost, which may not be acceptable or which may not be affordable also. So that is one of the important part. Now the developed countries, that is the United States and USA and Japan and United Kingdoms, UK, and developing countries are Turkey, India, Middle East, China. These all are developing countries, and slowly they are likely to be developed countries in futures. So Japan actually, here actually I am talking about the Japan has in the international IHRM purposes, they have quite ahead of everybody in the worldwide. Their technique, their management techniques are really unique. They have introduced lot of things. They have to research on these things, how to satisfy their employees. So this totally employee oriented HRM there actually. So it is a very strong sense of duty, because as you know, the Japanese are very particular. They have always been a very work alcoholic. They have to do their work in very determination and dedications only. How it has built up, because their culture is like this, the relationships are like this, as a very cooperations and harmony is there. Renge, one of the methods are there. They are the decision making process. In some boxes there, you can put in your ideas, whatever the things in the company, and that has to be considered. Sometimes it is a good idea for the things. So suggestion box is there, and then another thing is the quality cycles, because gathering in one place there to activity and to sort out the activities and the workers and employees and doing the similar work and led by the managers. This is the voluntary inclusions in the quality circles, and they are very perfect, and most of the other multinational companies are follow of these quality circles as such. Teamwork and the consciousness, subordinates approval are, they have to consider it. When suppose the boss is, when they are taking some of the decisions, definitely he has to consult with the subordinate also. They have to their consensus. Based on this, you have to decide these things has to be good for that. So what are the ideas as a collectively he has seen and best fit is to do it. So that is the culture of the Japan. Now there are some of the personal freedom is also there, and that's why their success is also, and face to face some authorizations are also there. Supervisor is saying, or the HODs or seniors, they are always authorize the works and appreciate the things. So but in the case of your United States is little different. the bosses are friendly, and subordinates are willing to questions for the authorizations. American culture is anti trade unions, because in the America they don't bother about the trade unions and all these things. They only work, and individualisms, individually you have to fulfill these things, and there's some targeted work is basically theirs, project wise. So most workers and the employees perform their job in a non-union sectors in the. So in United States, I mean basically talking about the US actually, the employer power is relatively high in the political and the economic scenario, and they have considered is the MBO also, management by objectives. They are jointly, they have to take their 360-degree diagram performance levels, and from the all point of view they are considered it. So that things are very interactive management systems. And then in the UK, the United Kingdoms, there are Scotland, England and Wales of the Northern Ireland from the UK kingdoms. The Englishmen are very individualistic and much emphasize keep of the value of the freedom and liberty. They are basically the freedom and liberty, they are the top priority they are giving this. So fight realistically and unions, the better wages and working conditions. So purely basically the contractual systems and tax oriented relationships, career oriented, and switch to another company in search of a better perspectives. Definitely they have to switch over the very fast. UK scored lower on the power of the divide than the other countries. So people more care more about the liberty and the equality. I am just highlighting the main of the points, and so that when you are talking about the your cross-cultural diversity, immediately all these points are different countries are different way. Now, HRM in the Turkey also. The Turkey is one of the biggest business partners in the Europe unions, and significant advantages there. There is a gateway. Actually, the Turkey, the location was geolocation is very important part for the trading purposes. Europe and the West and the Europe connectivity is very centralized. I mean, very easily can connect it. So that's why the Turkey is very, from the business point of view, from the trading point of view, very important parts. So that is the advantage for the Turkey, and it is a gateway. That's why the gateway connecting between the three geographical regions is connected. Even Asia also. I mean, the Asia, Europe, and West connectivity are through this Turkey can be possible. So that advantage they are taking actually. So what are the HRM in Turkey? The Turkish managers are not very socially friendly, but have a good interpersonal relationships, and they supervise rather than the managed. Mostly they supervise the things very much. Level of tolerance and are very empathic, and they prefer the institutive approach to the decision making and pay attention to the details, and they are not good at controlling their emotions sometimes. So now coming to Arab Middle East, there the Middle East country there, Turkey, Israel, Egypt, Iran, and Oman. The majority of the countries in the Middle East are the Arab ethnicity and the Islam, basically Islam. They are following the Islam mostly. So in a bunch of participations goes fast, close to the family, and incorporates more distant family members and the companions. They are always like, and seniors are regarded, and they are the Islamic traditions are theirs, and devotion to the work, no doubt, collaborations and the ambiguity. Problem is when you are people coming from the other countries, they are not giving a such position. That higher levels they are not giving. Mostly their relations and traditional family persons are in the top hit, but the working level and performance level people they are hiring from the other countries. So they don't bother with the written letters and memos, or they are normally avoided. What about the things one state will give away, they are think the finalizations, and higher level expertise are recruited from the developed countries. Normally, one of the now here the some of the discrepancies there, discrimination sometimes. Normally, the developed countries hire people there, and the lower peoples they are coming from the Asian countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and your Philippines, like this. So their workforce are coming from there, but in the expertise in the higher levels, they are recruiting from the developed countries. Basically, Europe, North America, the like developed countries. So, and in contrast to the lower level jobs, as I said, the expertise are recruited from, as I said, India, Pakistan, Malaysia, and the Philippines and the Arab world countries. So there is a but one of the another advantage is there, very good things. The Middle East basically taxpayers the exemptions. These are very attractive things. Tax exemptions are there with the comfortable accommodations provided by the employer, and with no work assurance, security of the annual agreement restorations, non-professional attitudes towards the business. Sometimes nepotisms are there, and your social cultural pressures are observed during the recruitment. It is there. Their first priority they are giving their nationalities. So individual consultations and over the group discussions, and your associate the view of the participation's management style as a symbol of the weakness, like this. However, they expect to be part of the consultation, not the final decisions. This is the way of Middle East their things. Now, India is a multicultural society. Now, India is just like a US, like this. There are different people are there. There are federalisms, emotional expressionships. Then you observe across the cultural spectrums. Then people are the different community, and we have close families, more distant families, and direct relatives, your companions, caste, religious groups. So all are multifunctional things are there. So it is very challenging here. Actually, those who are coming from the outside, they are very much aware of all these things. Working in India is very difficult because they have to lot of things to be learned here. And caste and subcaste consensus, then zero power to given in the lower rank, then you because the power not downloaded to the lower things. Separation in the power and pay and the working circumstances and honor for the individuals is higher, and the lower positions are different, obviously. And the center around their individuals, the exercises are the advantage in plants and the nearby the industries. Employees take part in the decision making process, and the democracy based country basically. Here actually we are sometimes if any things has to be implemented, definitely we have to participate. Union parties also there. We are allowing to them to participate so that the decision making process can be good. They should not feel any things. So some of the frugal and the innovative, aggressive and the materialistic things are there. So they have to look rather than bosses and to the supervisors' endorsements before the making the independent decisions. China, now coming to China, that is it is perhaps the most antiquate human civilizations in the planet. Socialist ruler beginning from the 1921, and there Deng Zhang's he's a successor. What are the basic things? Introduced the separate market reforms and your decentralized decision makings is given. China has a much diversity due to the various ethnic groups, because the Buddhisms are there, but there are lot of other languages and the religions are there. But the people share some common characteristics despite the diverse cultures. And the values systems are aesthetic, and your values are there. Chinese are collectiveness and the learn toward the group also. And these all are the part of your China. Then some lack of disciplines and the willingness of the supervisors to control the employees' behavior, and the trade union leaders are often political party personals because they cannot speak anything or write things. They are ruled by the government only, and they are controlled even during the recruitment the process of the organizations. Selectively they have to recruit, reluctant to associate among the managers, to share the information or make the risky decisions. They are not sharing. Rules and methods are manages. Then your now see some of the strategic part of the international managements. It is a competitive, so that it creates, if you have a good strategy, it creates some of the competitive advantage in the organizations. So different observer, different authors are saying in different way. So HRM is a competitive advantage through the strategically deployed, highly committed and the capable workforce. Human resource management issues the functions and the policies and the practices that result from your strategic deployment of the multinational enterprises. There are some of the framework. Now this some of the framework of the your strategic HRM. The lifestyle models, then your progressive phases, product life cycles and organizational life cycles, is all are the different framework are there. So there are three models are there basically. You have the explosive model, this is your eccentric-centrics, and your adaptive, that is a polycentrics, and your integrative, geocentrics. That diagram structures already have discussed. So firm strategy is deciding the HR processes in other cultures. So there is a resource dependence theory, then your resource biased view of the firm, knowledge based view of the firm, and the organizational learning theory, relations and the capital theories. Then some of the your role of a your HRM showing, shaping the organizational structures, architectures, basically the architecture of the things. Then I can show some of the critical factors are there. That is, your culture is one of the critical factors in the strategic point of view. That is, your regulatory influences, the labor market, available technology in the infrastructures, and there are basically two dimensions. If we are talking about the strategy, there are two dimensions on the outcomes and your processes to tell whether the strategy is focused on the maximization of the profit or not. Strategy always definitely in organizations when you start it, definitely you have to profit margin, definitely you have to see. At the same time, you have to see the customer satisfactions also. So one way we have to see your the focus should be your multiple goals and maximization of your profit part, and the process that considers the whether the process comes out as a result of planning of the other factors, and the process should be also very good things. Then only you have to success. Your quality will be good, your performance will be good, and market will be acceptable. So based on this two factor, again further Richard Winton in 1993 has identified the four perspectives of the strategy. They are again classical, evolutionary, and your processuals, and the synthetic, and the systematics. The different forms produced by the things are local differences, the global integrations, and worldwide innovations. And multinational firms, there are very decentralized federations, and global firms basically decentralized hub. These are things. So international firms are basically the coordinated federations. Then your transitional firms are integrated networks. A role of a corporate HRM functions. There are two basic classes of the knowledge are there. Exists explicit knowledge, is externals, that they are codified and easily communicated and share the complex data and manuals. And another is tactics or internal knowledge, you can say, not easily visible and your expressibles sometimes. Transfer of the knowledge is also across the borders the utmost necessary. It is necessary for the managers, because to build the competency based organizations, because you are there, your employee are there. So, headquarters and the subsidiaries are well related. I mean, the good communication based is required, so that the knowledge can be transferred very easily. The frame of the reference your determinants and the regulates whether the certain things or the behaviors are acceptable in the society norms. So, understanding the verbal and the non-verbal signals, you have to understand the things. That is basically we are talking about the knowledge based. Now, there are four main strategies, again talking the global market point of view. There is a global cost leaderships, then your multi-domestics, and your transnationals and your regionals. Multi-domestic strategy, there again the ignoring the specialized field needs is very important, so that you have standardized policies, structures and the operation procedures can lead to the decline interest in the local market. So, standard policies are very much required, structure is also very much required, operations procedures also, otherwise your business will be declined. So, scope and the direction of the adaptation can vary from the regional market to another. Now, traditional strategies where you have to main thing the important is global is vary, because you see the nations across the global is different economy, because the legal and then your economic conditions and your socio-cultures environments all are affected different. So, people's taste is also different from region to regions. So, that is why, and the financial income level, purchasing capacity is also different. So, all these aspects of the see. So, that is why the pressure in the creating the multinational companies to provide the locally appropriate products and services are sometimes they are feeling some pressures on these things. Pricing, at the time of pricing is very difficult, because what type of tag, I mean price tag should be reasonably all the people can be. So, averaging the price tags are very important part. That time you have to consider all these conditions. And emphasis on the global learnings. It focuses on the skill and the product of the offering. So, global learning is very important. The key decision centers to optimize its global efficiency and the local responsiveness. Then it is a tough challenge to finding out the optimal balance, is very definitely between the global integrations and the local representativeness. So, multinational companies to reevaluate their strategy due to globalization, time to time they have to reevaluate the things, because the conditions are variation, fluctuation are there. So, it is always, it is not a static, all the dynamic situations are there. So, but nowadays the different software has their database is there. So, within this they run the software, and based on this what are the forecasting on estimations are coming. So, strategic and alternative balance on the multi-dimensional strategies are important. Strategic focus on the isolating the each regions and the working toward the becoming the market leaders in the these regions. So, we have to always the strategy is not a very one day you have finalized these things, but maybe after 3 months again you have to scenario will be changed. So, maybe you have to redesign your strategies, you have to maybe add some of the more aspect, or maybe you have to delete some of the things based on the past 3 months effect, and you have to see it, and you have to redesign the things, all these things. So, as I said, is because the global is changing, variations are there domestically or internationally. So that points as aspect point are how fast you are identifying the things and effect of the things, and how best way you can protect your systems, I mean the market systems, then you can go ahead this way. Then only you can survive, and always you will be in the top position. Your car will be always at the high levels. So, that's why the strategy is very important, because otherwise, especially in the international market, for survival of the international market is very difficult. So, global product division structures are also important, functional activities, and the overseas and the local subsidiaries are often not considered. That you have to see, because you are doing there, maybe you feel some subsidy should be there, some local institutions are to be collaborate with them. So, all these things are you have to see, so that you can have a integrated way you can do it. Global area division structures, the local adaptations and the organization's products and the services critically into business strategy, because that local people are really accepting, or if they are not reluctant to purchase or something, what are the reasons behind it, you have to survey it, you have to collect the information and modify your product accordingly, so that you can have a good market. Then some of the elements of the critical of the area, this is local and overseas mergers, as I say, the shares, balance and synergy, one of the things, and your systematic and elaborate movements are required. Linkages are created across the creating units and the subsidiary and the subsidiaries. Then your international assignments, recruitment and the selection of your personal and the international assignments is very important. You have to point it out, they are really fit for this work or not. Then potentiality of the job candidates, and what are your job needs, they are really aligned with this your job or not. And the candidates are recruited for selecting the most suitable persons for the job. That part you have to ensure that yes, I have recruited the right persons. That is a part of your staffing, what the way you have to recruit the things. So, that is important. The multinational company corporations is a corporation that international labor organization, the ILO is there. They have defined some of the things as how to manage the thing, and headquarters is one of the country and known as your home country, because headquarters are always in the home country. Then operates in several other countries also is known as the host countries. That is the way actually we are decline, as I said in the earlier initially. So, train towards the globalizations, and okay, I think this part is not very important. Now, I am coming to different approaches of the staffing in the multinational companies. As I said, the ethnic centrics, then polycentric, geocentric, and regional centrics. Then some of the factors are we have already discussed, Japan's, how they have improved. Then your two-dimension theories, and that some of the cultural shock. I think when you are deploy somebody, they should not feel any cultural shocks. Whoa, what are the things? I cannot do it, these things, this type of languages, barrier, all of this. So, that shock should be avoided if you deploy, and a pre-training is required, so that you can avoid the cultural shock. Then some of the phases are there, cultural shock diagrams, that also important. And then your external recruitment, basically some of the when we are talking about the international deployment purpose for your expertise part. So, definitely headhunting is one of the way, the method you can earn. So, collectively and perfect people you can understand, their biodata or their CVs will be important part. So, headhunting is one of the things. Another is the cross-national advertisings. Your advertising is cross-national. Everybody can apply the things. So, that is you can get a correct persons and international recruitment process. Advantages is broader sources of you can get in low cost, and faster recruitment is also there, and easy to efficiently you can handle the things and the things. Then your assessment, you can tailor informations are there. Then difficulties faced by the multinational company normally, firstly, what type of difficulties? There is a lack of image of the market. Sometimes you have to create your market branding, it is important. If you have not a market image, so then it will be a problem. lack of knowledge of the local labor market. You are not knowing the labor market conditions. So that is one of the because of the failure of the multinational companies are talking about. Ignorance of the local educations, their education levels, what type, that should not be ignored. Lack of knowledge of the status of the qualifications, and the language and the cultural problems of the interviews are also things. So all these things are residing in the your country and the cultural other that things. Now, immigrants normally you are giving a tag those who are the country to earn more money, and they are going to the other countries for the work. That is ingredient immigrant countries. And another in the short term process, basically organizational development is through the transfer of knowledge between the headquarters and subsidiary of the between the subsidiaries. Then only you can have a successfully you can run the any business. So headquarters and the subsidiaries should be well connected so that they can transfer the knowledge very easily and they can start the things. So I think now this is the way I can now okay. I think now I can stop the sessions. Most of the part I have disclosed, right? And fail of the expertise basically is important because the image of the company will be goes down. So that's why you have to be very careful about when you are talking about the international managements. So HRM parts. So you have to before deploy to anybody trained prerequisite things, awareness, knowledge, everything are required. Okay, I think thank you very much. Thank you.